Welcome, everyone, to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I am really interested to share these insights that I have picked up from conversations with spirit, as well as things that I've noticed in client sessions and tuning in for people lately. Something is changing, something is different. And that's what I want to talk about. So, before I dive into this kind of different timeline tune in concept, I want to explain the 3D, 5D divide. Okay. So, for those of you that are maybe more new to these concepts, we have been really shifting and growing and changing from a predominantly 3D conscious society as humanity into a 5D conscious society. So, a lot of people have talked about, the new Earth, and people have wondered, does that mean there's two planets, two parallel planets that are, beside each other? Some people have talked about, these ships that are going to come down and take people to this new earth, and only the ascended can go, and all of this. I kind of make light of that because, in essence, what it is a strong divide between those those that are choosing to stay in a consciousness of 3D versus those that are choosing to grow in their consciousness. And by growing, they have to do a lot of healing so that they can encompass a higher level consciousness, meaning a vaster capacity for thought and reflection beyond the limits of our known 3D reality. So we can see 5D consciousness not just in spiritual circles, but we can see 5D consciousness in, say doctors, for example, that are really willing to step outside the box of traditional Western medicine practices and really embrace and encourage older modalities, different modalities, new ideas of healing, right? It's not structured in a box. We can see that in different businesses that are innovating in new ways. Like higher 5D consciousness is not just devout spirituality, it is the ability to think beyond the limitations of 3D for the greater purpose. Because third dimensional reality loves to stay in a box of known parameters of what is possible. Anything outside of that begins to break down that typical geometrical structure of a box, of a cube, of a square, into different types of shapes. What other kind of shapes can we make? Those shapes come by frequency, right? So as we've been growing in this greater divide between 3D and 5D, there's been a lot changing, even in the way in which we tune in and the way in which we predict stuff. Because I can say 5 years, 8 years, 10 years ago, it was much easier to tune in for people to give more pinpoint predictions. Spirit had a greater capacity to say, the highest probability of this outcome is likely this. And they would be pretty bang on. Now, what I find when I tune in, especially for those that are really working in that 5D consciousness, that expansion of consciousness, they're expanding, but the predictability based on spirit is getting harder and harder. And so, for example, if I was to tune into one of my girlfriends who's, very high vibey and try and look at her timeline, timelines now are much more varied in those higher realms, but much more varied because the higher you go in consciousness, the more capacity you have to create in any given moment, which can easily alter the direction in which your timeline plays out. So before, if we were just looking into kind of 3D consciousness timeline, let's say, and I'm just going to use this as an example to explain it, it's not limited to this, but let's say 3D had 2 or 3 main timeline possibilities. It's either A or B, right? You could see which way somebody was kind of leaning energetically in one timeline or another. Whereas say 5D, let's say 5D has 6 different options. There's 6 different directions now. It's not just a turn left or turn right. It's a star-shaped pattern. Which direction does somebody want to go? Well, that direction can change at any given time based on the consciousness they have, based on their feelings in the moment, and the fact that they are fast creators. So for all of you that are, looking to try and tune in and feel into your future and your direction, the more we try to look farther ahead for determined outcomes, the harder it's going to be, because the higher we go in consciousness, the more we are living in the present moment. And isn't that the thing, right? In 3D, we're trying so hard to understand our past, present, and future and focus for the future and create for the future, which is great. It's great to have goals. But in higher consciousness, we're actually striving to live in the moment. Doesn't mean we don't have goals, but we're not stuck to the singular outcome. Or maybe it is we are stuck to the singular outcome, but the path to that singular outcome now has, for example, metaphorically, 6 options. That's 6 different ways that it could pan out. The end result is still the same. So I say this because as we go higher dimensional in consciousness, our free will has such a bigger play in how we create our reality. And that is actually a beautiful thing. But what it takes is for us to start to shift how we've always done things. And that even means with spiritual practices, start shifting your desire to need to know the outcome. And here, I'm going to pause for a moment because I understand wanting to know the outcome of something. I still ask my guides for the outcomes of things and a timeline of things. Okay. So I'm not coming from this in a perspective that, it's just easy. It's just easy. It's not. We're changing the paradigms of how we used to think as a collective into how higher consciousness is now allowing us to think in a different way, a multi-directional way, as well as a multi-dimensional way. When we create something from a 5D conscious point, we have ripple effects into the past, into the parallel, and into the future. It's multi-directional and multi-dimensional. So that's why free will becomes such a pivotal point. And your choices of what you choose to do are so significant. What you choose in any given moment has a big ripple effect. And Spirit has been saying this forever. If you've been listening to my content for a while, you will hear the word ripple effect. What you do matters, right? And it does. It makes for easier creation. Easier creation can also make for faster manifestation. Faster manifestation, though, has to happen in a few different ways. It can't just be the known way of how you think it should all unfold. So I really encourage all of you to ponder, where is that happening in your life, and where are you desiring predetermined outcomes to make you feel more comfortable in the present moment? Because really what you're needing to do in the present moment is be in the present moment, is be okay with some of the unknowns, knowing that your tuned in and connected conscious choices every step of the way are leading you towards what it is your heart desires, your soul desires, or maybe your mind desires, if you know what your passion is. But it's about slowing down and coming back to the now, and what can you do in the now to help you be fully present? Because that's a big thing we're shifting into, is present-mindedness. Present-mindedness. And if you really think about it, I don't think there are a lot of people on the planet that are actually very comfortable with present-mindedness. I know that it has taken me personally a long time to get there, and I'm not there 24/7, for sure. For sure I'm not there. Maybe I'm there, I don't know, I would like to say half the time, but is that actually accurate? I don't know. Maybe it's even less. However, I do notice it more, that I have a capacity to just be in the moment. And that is where true capacity comes from. True experiences come from present moment. Great spiritual awakenings come from present moment. You could have the most simplest thing. Yeah, my guys are showing me this example. You could be riding your bike, and you could be riding your bike very busy, worrying about the future, and you still take the same bike ride home, right? You get home, You rode your bike, all good. You got your exercise in. Your mind was busy. You did a lot of thinking. You can also ride that very same bike ride with present moment energy, noticing the things around you. And say you happen to notice three gigantic bumblebees flying around this rose. And as you pass by slowly, you're like, wow, that's a humongous rose. And you actually decide, I'm just going to stop and smell that rose because those bees look like they're loving it. You stop, and as you get closer, the bees move away, and you smell the rose, and it's the most fragrant rose you have ever smelt. And when you take that moment, you connect in with the flower, and you take that breath, all of a sudden you have these series of visions. And maybe they're visions of your mom passed away, who maybe loved roses. And your mom's energy is what drew you to pay attention to that. Your mom maybe drew the energy of the bees there to be swarming around the rose to catch your attention so that you could take a moment, smell the rose, and have an amazing spiritual connection with your mom. But if you were too busy in your head, flying home, same bike ride, you would miss it. Doesn't mean you're bad for missing it. Not at all. It just is. We cannot be perfect. Well, maybe some people can. I can't be perfectly present in every moment. There's stuff to do. We live really busy lives, and society still is hounding people to be crazy busy. Although, there's a lot of movement starting to change that. But just think about it. Like, what brings you back into present momentness? What are you missing when you are too busy? Do you feel fulfilled when you've been so busy you barely remember the details of your day? Some days, yeah, maybe that is fulfilling because maybe you got a lot of stuff done. And then it opens up a couple days of present moments, maybe not even the whole day. But it's really important to understand that because that is where, when we keep talking about wanting to be, higher consciousness beings and connecting with the galactic realms, they have an understanding of present moment. They bring everything into a present moment. Oftentimes, when they bring messages through, they almost drop this thought bubble. I think I've explained this before, but they drop a thought bubble. And when we first receive it, we receive one glimpse of it, which we perceive in a linear way. We get a sentence, a storyline, an insight, or a piece of information. But what we're missing is what they actually dropped was a whole entire moment of present mindedness. And if we go back into that same energy, oftentimes it can look like a bubble that if you took time to actually look around the whole energetic experience, you would pick up so much more detail from that singular bubble thought moment. Because they understand the concepts of living in the present moment. As well, living in the present moment is where we can begin to step into higher gifts and abilities, right? Like telepathy. Telepathy needs a certain frequency for it in order to be shared within that moment. We can still send a message to somebody telepathically and they get it. But in the present, it requires this present minded state, which as humans, we really actually don't spend a lot of time in it. We think we do maybe in meditation, and that's great, but also in life. We need to do it in life. And so this was something that I really wanted to bring forward because, again, coming back to what I was talking about in the beginning, if you're finding you're having a really hard time tuning in to what's next in your future, what's coming down the pipe, where am I going to be in 1 year? Where am I going to be in 3 years? It might be hard to tell because you're in that new frequency energy where so many timelines are available for you. It's like unlimited opportunity can't give a finite direction because at any moment in that present moment, it's changing. So your power resides in making conscious choices in any given moment throughout your day. Consciously choosing, does this feel aligned with me or does it not? And I mean, for some things, you do them because you have to do them, right? But it's taking the time to make some of the moments in your day sacred. That's what it's about. For us to suddenly just flip and be present in every single moment. I mean, I can't do that yet. Maybe some of you can. And if you can, it's amazing. I can't do it yet, but I can choose to make moments sacred, to to pause, to be fully present for certain moments. You can even try it with simple things. Have you ever tried, Spirit's giving me this example, and it's funny that they're giving it to me. Have you ever tried being fully present brushing your teeth, where you feel the suds, you feel the flavor, or you taste the flavors, you feel the brushes on your teeth? You like, they're like, that seems like a mundane thing, but you're allowing yourself full presence, feeling the way your mouth feels as all of those things interact in your mouth. Half the time when we're brushing our teeth, we're thinking of everything we have to get done. But have you ever just embodied the energy of your teeth and experienced it? These are the kind of things that Spirit's talking about that gets us more deeply connected in and more in alignment with these new energies, with this new consciousness that we're reaching. And really, when I say 3D, 5D divide, what I've been noticing a lot lately too is that there are more and more people actually residing in more of a 6D consciousness. And that's why we're really getting this understanding coming through. The higher the level of dimensional consciousness we can attain in our thought, in our awareness, the greater our ability to manifest and the greater our presence is needed in this singular moment. So that's something to really ponder. And, I've been pondering this for a little while since they brought it through, but I just want to give some comfort to those that are feeling like, why can't I feel my timeline anymore? Why can I not? It's because you're in an entirely new paradigm energy. And this is something that has really been shifting a lot and made a big leap and shift since the eclipse season. So journaling, reflecting, pondering, notice what you notice, taking time to ponder and feel, consciously choose, all of those things help you maneuver these new energies of this new way to be a human being on the planet. So I will leave that with all of you for now. I want to thank you so much as always for joining me. Please do share this episode with somebody if they might benefit from the understanding. And I just want to thank you all so much for your continued encouragement and support. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good one, everyone.